Well, the boys of summer are heating up, and as the temperatures rise this week in Toledo, the Hens are back in town, one of the hottest teams in the International League, and they welcome into town another hot team, Scranton-Wilkes-Barre. We'll get to that in a moment as we welcome in Matt Melzak to talk the Mud Hens. And Matt, now that the walleye season is over, you can fully focus on the Hens, and Toledo coming back to town on a hot streak. They've won 9 of their last 12 after taking 4 of 6 in Worcester.
Yeah, they did really good on the road against a very good pitching staff for the Worcester Red Sox. It's got a couple of prospect names out of there. Maybe they got lucky they didn't have to face with Winkowski because he was up with the Red Sox. But, it's still a good team out there in Worcester. And Toledo went in and did the job and really probably could have won even on Sunday.
Monday, J.Mar Candelario gets called back up to the Tigers. He was down in Toledo on an injury rehab assignment. We knew he wouldn't stay in Toledo forever. What does having a major leaguer, a proven major leaguer, do for the Hens to have him down for a week or so?
Well, I think in some cases it allows some of the younger guys that are on the roster to kind of watch how, a major league player goes about his business of getting back into the lineup and getting ready for each and every game. And, clearly, J.Mar Candelario is a guy who belongs with the big leagues. So he was going to have some games in Toledo where he was going to light it up, and that was the case. And it always helps when you get those guys. Victor Reyes coming through. I mean, what did he hit? 450, I think, in his time with the Mud Hens this year. So you get those guys in a lineup, they usually produce or at least hit at a high level, which allows your offense to do very well. Or on the other side, usually those guys pitch pretty well as also. They're major leaguers. They're getting ready for that return to the big league level. And a lot of times that always helps out your minor league affiliate, especially when you can get multiple players like the Hens have had over the last couple of weeks in their lineup. I mean, you think back a week and a half ago and their top 4 in a lineup were all rehab guys. That can help you an awful lot.
Another guy who has spent a lot of time in the major leagues this past season, Akil Baddoo, in Toledo. The plan is to keep him in Toledo for a little while. He's starting to bat heat up again. And I think one thing we forget about Akil Baddoo, he was in the Tigers last season up at the top level the entire year because he was a Rule 5 draft pick. He had to stay up there, otherwise they could have given him back to the Twins. He still isn't 24 years old. He's still a very young prospect, and he is starting to hit the ball really well the last few games.
Right, and you said the word there, prospect. This is a guy who had just played an A ball up until the Tigers taking him in the Rule 5. So you knew he was going to have some adjustments. Even when he came back to Toledo, even when they first sent him down, he had some struggles, and he had to make those adjustments. And slowly but surely, that's what this is for, especially for guys that are 22, 23, 24 years old. There is still that possibility that guys get sent down. I mean, even up until this weekend, there was talk you might see Spencer Torkelson back in Toledo for a little while. It happens to all players. You need to have that opportunity. You can go look. There's Hall of Famers that came up, struggled a little bit in their first taste of the big leagues, got sent back to the minors, and then came back and had that success. So, the minor leagues can be very helpful for guys to find things. I can remember calling a game when Max Scherzer, of all people, got sent down to Toledo to get a start because he was working through some things early in his career with the Tigers. So, who would have ever thought that with the way Max Scherzer pitches these days and has pitched for the last better part of nearly a decade in the big leagues? You never would have thought you had seen that, but it happens to guys. Akil Baddoo, a very talented player, and we're starting to see that once again on display in Toledo.
Hens have won 9 of the last 12, as we said. They're now 4 games over 500. They're starting to make a little bit of a move up the standings. They welcome in Scranton-Wilkes-Barre into town for 6. Rail Riders towards the bottom of the East Division standings, but they're playing some pretty good baseball right now as the Yankees' top affiliate.
Yeah, they certainly are, Mark, and they're doing it the same record in their last 10 as the Mud Hens. Mud Hens come in 7-3 in their last 10. Scranton 7-3 in their last 10. As well. They're starting to find their hitting. They've got a very good rotation for pitching. They struggled to hit the baseball earlier in the year. They're starting to find that groove a little bit. This will be an interesting series for the Hens, starting back-to-back weeks at home against 2 opponents that if you looked on paper and you just looked at the standings, you would go, okay, this is a chance for the Mud Hens to even maybe make up some more ground, only 4.5 back of Nashville in the IL division. So you look at that overall, maybe this is a stretch where the Mud Hens can keep things rolling. It's going to start with Scranton, and then, of course, they get Louisville next week.
It's supposed to be hot all week long, so if it's too hot for you at the ballpark, you can always watch those games live on BCSN. But, Matt, it's always enjoyable to spend a summer day at the ball yard.
Yeah, it certainly is, Mark, and we'll look forward to having the folks out in droves the next couple of weeks because it is always fun to watch baseball. You get the hot, warm temperatures as well.